Hey guys, it's Rob from Hypop and welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to be unboxing and reviewing the brand new Godox AD300Pro. Thanks for watching guys. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this. We unbox and review so many different Godox products, including all the latest ones just like this. Hit that notification bell to be updated of any new content that we release. Also, drop a like if this video has helped you in any way, and leave a comment down below your thoughts on the brand new Godox AD300Pro. Let's get into it. So I've got with me the brand new Godox AD300Pro in its retail packaging here. So you can see it actually comes in quite a small box, which is a good thing because that means that the flash inside is obviously a lot smaller as well than anticipated anyway, because the AD200 has a similar size box. So that gives you a little bit of a scale there as to how big the actual flash is. Let's open this up really quickly and see what's included. So firstly, we've got the case here, which is really similar to the AD200 Pro case, but it's just slightly bigger. So that's the case with all the contents inside. And you also get a little Godox catalog with the key products. You've got a Godox warranty card, and also the AD300 Pro manual. So those are all the documentation pieces that come with the flash. Put those away. Now, inside the actual case here, it's a zipper case. Material and everything's pretty much the same as the AD200 Pro. And there we have it. So we've got a few different things here. Firstly, we've got the light stand bracket. This looks like it's a tilt bracket, and it has a little 1/4-inch screw thread at the top there. You also have the AD300 Pro charger with the cable. And you've got a battery here. This is the WB300P. Also looks quite similar to the Godox AD200 Pro battery. I think that's the WB 27 or 28. And the AD300 Pro flashy. So there you have it. It's quite small. You can see that in my hand. Really small flash overall. It's a 300 watt flash. And it sits in between obviously the AD200 Pro and AD400 Pro. So let's set this up on a stand and have a look at some of the features. So here's the AD300 Pro, and I just wanted to show how to quickly set this up. Firstly, you just use this tilt bracket or the light stand bracket that's provided. And it's got a little 1/4-inch thread there, and it matches up to the 1/4-inch thread at the bottom of the flash here too. You could just mount this directly to a stand. If you can see this small desktop stand, it has a 1/4-inch screw as well. And if you have any other sort of tilt bracket that has a 1/4-inch thread, you can use that. And to mount that on, you simply just use these locking wheels on the side of this bracket, and you twist it into place. There's little notches there that line up to the little notches on the top of the light stand there, so it secures into place. So when that's tight there, it actually won't wiggle around when it's on the bracket. Now just unscrew the locking knob on the bottom here of the bracket, and then you mount that directly to the stand. And there you have it. That's basically your light stand there, mounted directly to the light stand. You also have that tilt knob at the bottom there to control the angling of the light itself. Now, some of the physical features of the AD300 Pro include obviously its size. Its size is really compact and small. If you're familiar with the Godox Witstro range of flashes, they've released many different flashes, including the AD200, 200 Pro. There's also the older AD360 external speedlight flash. You also got the AD400 Pro, 600B and BM, and then the AD600 Pro, and then the soon to be released or newly released AD1200 Pro. So there's a wide range there depending on the types of output or portability options that you're after in a flash. The AD300 Pro basically sits between the 200 and 400, and it replaces the Godox AD360 Pro, it's not the Pro, it's the AD360 and the AD362 with that external battery pack. It's a bit sort of older technology, having that external battery pack to the actual flash. So it's great to see that they've also included that built-in lithium-ion battery to the AD300 Pro here. You can see all you need to do is actually just slide it into the back there, and that locks into place. And there's also a little locking release there that actually releases the battery just like that. This is the WB300P battery. And if you actually look at the AD200 or 200 Pro battery, which is called the WB29, you can see it's actually quite similar, almost identical. There are slight differences in dimension, and you'll notice that when you actually go to put that into the AD300 Pro, there's actually a little bit of a extra gap here on the inside there. It doesn't sit as flush as the new AD300 Pro battery. Now that being said, the actual specs of the batteries themselves are identical. There are 14.4 volts, 2600 milliamp, except the WB29 is 2900 milliamp. But they've got the same voltage rating, which means that you can most certainly use this, and it's backwards compatible with the AD200 Pro batteries, which is great if you already have invested into the AD200 Pro and you've got a mixture of flashes in your setup. You can actually just jump in and use your AD200 Pro batteries, which is great. Now, if you have a look at some of the other physical features of the AD300 Pro, you've got the IR sensor at the top here, so that's for optical triggering. And you also have just your button control here at the back, and we'll run through the menu shortly. And that's pretty much it. So it's nice and compact. At the front here, you've got that locking release on the actual front of the head. And what you'll see is this actual flash has a mounting bracket. So this one here is the Godox Mount, and it's compatible with a lot of different Godox accessories. So not particularly Bowen's, so you'll have to invest in some of their Godox accessories now. There's a range of different accessories available, which include a snoot, some softboxes, barn doors, and they're releasing more and more accessories as time goes on. But that's their own native mount, and it's good to see that they have included a native mount, because if you're coming from the AD200 or 200 Pro, there's no actual mounts there, and you need to use something like the optional Godox S bracket or the S2 bracket, and that would be what you would need if you're going to be using modifiers. So it's good to see that's built in there. Also, since it is replacing the AD360, the fact that it's a nice small compact unit and also has a mount allows you different options, you know, for run and gun setups, and something if you're wanting to set up outdoors. It's a lot easier to transport, and knowing that you have a mount ready to go, especially if you've bought some of those Godox accessories. Now at the front here, you've got the flash tube, and that's a cover that basically just covers the round flash tube here. So that's a little bit different to the other 80 range or the Witstro range. So the other 80 range or Witstro range, you've got an actual glass tube that pulls out completely. And you can see here, it's just gone back to that traditional round flash tube on the actual flash, similar to other studio strobes. So studio strobes from their studio range, including the SK400 and the QT600 and things like that. And the reason they've done that is because they actually have a stronger LED modeling lamp at the front here, which is great. You can still replace these quite easily. A lot of these are available third party, or, you know, like as a spare part for your flash. And this glass tube here is just basically to protect that flash, especially when in transport or when you are, you know, storing it away. And that just clicks back into place there. On the front of that glass cover, there's a little diffusion frosted part here, so that further diffuses the light, so it's not so direct and harsh on your subject if you'll be using just say a standard reflector. So you can most certainly do that. And also at the bottom here, you've got a umbrella mount on the tilt bracket. So if you're wanting to mount an umbrella modifier, you can do that with that bracket. Now in terms of using Bowen's modifiers with the AD300 Pro, if you're wanting to do that, you'd actually have to either use a Bowen's front mount here, which you can actually get separately. They were available with the AD400 Pro, so you can use that directly with that, or you can jump in and get the optional Godox S2 bracket, which is this one here. This is the brand new S2 bracket. If you want to look at the review and unboxing of that, we'll link it up above. Now, in terms of the mounting of this, what you need to do is just remove the two little plates at the bottom, and you can slip that directly into the middle there and have that mounted right on that metal round ring on the front of the flash there. That way, the actual flash tube sits a little bit forward there. Now I've seen other videos where they mount it on the plastic casing here. I wouldn't advise that, because that may damage the actual casing, especially if you add weight in terms of like a modifier and things like that. But having that directly on that silver plate at the front there is more than sufficient. And that way you can mount a Bowen's modifier here, whether that be a softbox, or if you've got some sort of barn door or a beauty dish or a snoot. If you've already invested in some Bowen's modifiers, you can still most certainly use them with the AD300 Pro, as long as you have the S2 bracket. One thing I did notice is that the charger is actually the C29 charger. So that's the exact same charger that you have for the AD200 and 200 Pro. So once again, able to use some of the other accessories that you may have already invested in, especially if you've got some AD200s available. You can just jump in and mix and match that with the AD300 Pro. Now for some of the modifiers, I've got some examples here of some modifiers. And firstly, if you already have an AD400 Pro, if you're familiar with the adapter rings, you can actually adapt to different lighting modifier types or mounts. You've got the Pro Photo, Electron, Broncolor, and you can actually mount them directly to the AD400 Pro and just screw them into the top here. You can do the same thing with the AD300 Pro. using those same rings, but you'll need the adapter ring, and the adapter ring is the AD-AB, and we'll put that up on the screen so you can have a look at what that looks like. And it's basically the adapter ring that allows you to mount those different modifier brackets as well, the mounts. So if you're wanting to do that, they are available. So if you have already invested in some lighting modifiers from different systems, they are very much compatible with the AD300Pro here. So a lot of versatility with this particular flash. So an example of where you'd need the AD-AB adapter ring would be just using some of their other modifiers. So this was built for the AD400Pro as well. This is called the SN04 snoot. And the modifier looks like it'd fit. It's a round mount here. But what you see is it's a bit too big for the AD300Pro. So you'll definitely need that adapter ring. And that's an example there of where you can use some of the AD400Pro accessories with the AD300Pro, so long as you have that ring. Now, in terms of other modifiers that go directly to the front here of the Godox mount, I've got the Godox AD-S65S, which is a 65 centimeter softbox here. It's a nice compact softbox. So you can see there in my hands, nice and small when it's collapsed down. And you just open that up there. And it's sort of like an umbrella style, so you just need to push down on the center ring here. And that locks into place just like so. It's got a silver lining on the inside here of the softbox. And it's easy to sort of collapse and pack away because it's collapsible. And on the back here, what you'll notice is the Godox mount that lines up to the AD300Pro here. There you go, and that locks into place. Just make sure that your tilting bracket is tightened there. And you can see that that's your native modifier here for the AD300Pro. And when you unlock that, it's nice and easy to pack away as well. There you have it. So Godox are releasing so many different Godox mount accessories now for the flashes, in a way sort of forcing you to jump in and grab their modifiers now, because a lot of them come native with that mount now. I mean, they are quite high quality. You can see with this little softbox here, there's also an 85 available and different options for the inner lining there to be silver or white. So a few different options are available from the Godox range. The good thing about their modifiers too is that they're sort of relatively inexpensive compared to others. So if you're after a complete Godox setup, that's easy to do nowadays, whereas before you need to sort of get some Bowen's modifiers or get different Bowen softboxes, which could be quite large. But their nice little compact mount here is perfect for run and gun setups and in-studio lighting modifier options. Running through some of the features of the Godox AD300Pro, basically all the features that you've grown to love. Basically the TTL mode, so you've got that still built in. You've also got the high-speed sync up to 1/8,000th of a second. You've also got a really fast recycle time of 0.01 to 1.5 seconds. So at full output there, it is slightly slower than, say, something like the AD600Pro. You also have compatibility with the Godox X range of triggers. So that's compatible with the X1, the X2, and the X Pro. And that's across the entire range of the Witstro flashes. You also have group options with those triggers, so you can go 5 different groups with those flashes. Now you've got a brand new 12 watt-second LED modeling lamp that has a color temperature range of 3000 Kelvin to 6000 Kelvin, and you can change them in 500 Kelvin intervals, which we'll look at shortly. There's also 10 stops of brightness for those, for that particular modeling lamp. And also there's a delay flash mode from 0.01 seconds to 30 seconds. So it's got all these features and advanced features that you'd expect from a Pro model flash. So running through the menu and how to use the flash, firstly, just turn on the flash here with the power button. And there's your main screen there. So there's a small LCD screen that displays all your different settings, including the channel that you're on, the mode that you're on, the battery, the group, if you've got beeping mode on, and also just if you've got power here. Now, in terms of the buttons, firstly is your mode button. You can cycle between the multi, the manual, and TTL modes. And you've got a range of 1/256 all the way up to 1/1, which is great because it means you have so many different options there. In 0.1 stop, increments there. So one-stop increments, adjusting the flash output. Now jumping into the menu, which is these 3 lines here on this button. You've got F1. Firstly, F1 is for the beeper, and that turns on, you can press down on this wheel here. So just head back into F1, press down on the wheel. You can turn that on or off. So that's the beeping mode for the flash. If you turn that off, you press down, there's no more beeping. We'll leave that on because that's a sort of default setting. You also have F2, which is slave mode, so you can decide whether or not it's going to be an S1 or S2 if you've got other master flashes in the range. F3 is just your standby time, so that's before the actual flash power just turns off if it's idle. So you can leave that on off completely if you always want the flash on, or 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes. Options there, default 60, so we'll leave it there. F4 is for the delay flash. So this is the feature here where you can actually set the delay all the way up to 30 seconds in half a second increments there, down to the 1 second, 0.01 basically, as you can see there. And jumping into F5. F5 is your mask mode. So this is also in other Godox Pro flashes. You can set the N1 and N2 for the masking mode. It's good for product photography. So F6 is basically just your flash duration enabler. So if you want to display that, you can set that to on. It's off as default. When you set that to on there, when you head back into the mode there, it shows your flash duration as you adjust the output there. If you turn it off, when you head back, that goes away. Next is F7. F7, and you can set the channel, wireless channel ID here. So that's basically for the wireless channel in your trigger. If you've got other 2.4 gigahertz devices, especially other Godox devices, it's good to set that wireless ID so it pairs perfectly with your trigger without any interference. And the last one here is F8, which is your color stable mode. So the flash itself has a rating of 5600 Kelvin with plus or minus 200 Kelvin color temperature. But when you enable the actual color temperature mode or color stability mode, it decreases that range to plus or minus 100K, which means it's a lot more color stable in terms of all the shots that are coming through for the flash. So it's good to see that Pro feature is still included. Now on the side here, you've got small buttons. You've got the modeling lamp button. When you press that down, you can actually hold that modeling lamp button and it'll display the settings for the modeling lamp, and you've got those 10 stop increase and decrease of the intensity. And then when you press down again, it actually controls the Kelvin. So you can see there it jumps 500 Kelvin every time you change the setting, from 3000 Kelvin to 6000 Kelvin. And the next option here is just your group and channel. So that cycles through your group and channel there. When you press down, it changes the group. And when you hold down, it highlights the channel. So you can default it back to, say, channel 1. And then you've got your wireless mode here. So if you just want to turn off wireless completely, say if you're using a sync cable, you can turn off wireless completely, or you can turn that back on, and then your wireless settings come back. Then you've obviously got your test button here, the on-off button, and then the battery release button there too. So it's relatively straightforward to use in terms of the flash and the settings. Just another small thing, basically on the side here there is a little cover that has a 3.5mm jack as well as a USB-C port. The 3.5mm jacks for sync cables or for backwards compatibility with other trigger systems. So if you don't have any of the X triggers by Godox, you can still use that with the AD300Pro. And the USB-C ports for firmware updates. So Godox always release new firmware updates on their website, which is godox.com/download. And basically if they update any of the menu system or if they update any of the features, it's good to always keep this up to date there. And on the back here of the actual flash, there's actually a reset mode as well. So if you hold down the modeling lamp button as well as the menu button together, it resets the flash back to its factory settings. So if you've hit some of the settings, maybe some of those custom function settings, and you don't know what you've done and the flash is not working as intended, just hit that reset, and that should reset the flash back to its default settings to ensure that it gets up and running again. The thoughts on really that scroll wheel at the back there, it's just a little bit fiddly, I guess, when you're running through all the different menu options, which you saw when I was going through the menu. So that's just a small thing that I noticed, but I mean, it's not too bad. Being able to fast scroll through that wheel is good too. Overall, the AD300Pro is actually a great flash. It sits in that middle range there, that sort of starter wattage of about 300 watts that you'd expect from a studio strobe. The fact that this is an outdoor flash and it replaces the AD360 and the 362 is great. We knew that this was coming from Godox. We knew that there was eventually going to be a small gap there that they'd like to fill, because if you're in between sort of speed lights and a flash strobe, you either had to go to the AD200 Pro or the 400 Pro. So there's less of a jump there if you're transitioning from speed lights into portable flashes or studio strobes. The 300 watt second is great. The fact that it has all the Pro features that the AD200 Pro, 400 Pro and 600 Pro have is great. That color stability mode, you've got that TTL, you've got that trigger compatibility with all of the X triggers, and that means that you're also compatible with all the different camera brands, Canon, Nikon, Sony, Panasonic, Olympus, Fuji, Pentax. So there's all of that versatility. It's got its own mount here. That means that you can, directly compatible with the Godox Mount accessories, and using the S2 bracket, you've got the Bowen's Mount accessories. There's so many different things that are great about this flash. So if you're in the market for a new flash and you don't have one already, the 300 Pro is probably a great flash to start with. If you've already got some of Godox's flashes, 200s, 400s, 600s, it's definitely going to be great as a backlight or a hair light or a portable light, or one that you just grab as a run and gun setup. If you just need the one light, you may grab just the 300 Pro here because it's got that 300 watt seconds. It's nice and compact, and you can use it as a nice and portable one light setup, or even if you have a couple of these, great for like an impromptu studio setup or quick setup that that you can bring around with you and pack away, nice and easy. So for more videos just like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We release so many different Godox reviews and unboxings, as well as many different lighting brands like Aperture and Bowling. Also, leave a comment down below if you have any questions about the AD300 Pro. We'll be happy to answer them. Hit that notification bell to be updated of any new videos we release, and drop a like on this video if it's helped you in any way. Also, don't forget to visit us on our website, www.hypop.com.au, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook @Hypop. Thanks for watching.